First, man, just want to thank our fans. Great crowd today with the limit of the capacity with all the construction that's going on. But from Vol Walk, all the families, a bunch of little kids out there, to everybody inside the stadium, appreciate them showing up in the style that they did. It's an awesome day for our young players in particular to get out in front of a crowd. Most of them, it's the biggest crowd that they've played in front of, but it simulates as much as we can, as close as we can, to what game day is going to feel like. So great energy from them. Appreciate them. Spring game weekend, so many former players, VFLs that are back. That's a bunch of guys that just finished with us in December of this past fall. To guys that played generations before, and it's always great to have them back home, and they're so well connected to our program, so important to our program. Appreciate them showing up the way that they did. Today, obviously, different format from usual from a spring game. Just where we were at in the course of our spring ball, we wanted to get a lot of work. We did some special teams today. Got some great work on that side of it, and wanted our players to be out in front of the crowd, and so that's why you saw some of the group work, offense, defense, 7-on-7, one-on-ones, the big guys going through one-on-ones as well, and ultimately wanted to get to the play count that we got to with each of our groups, and simulate game day as well, and so hopefully the fans enjoyed it. And I do appreciate them because there was a lot of great work. I'm sure I'm going to get asked about this here in a second, so I'll address it on the front end. Today's landscape of college football is different than what it has been. And it's unfortunate, just the situation and where we're at with Nico. I want to thank him for everything that he's done since he's gotten here. That's as a recruit to who he was as a player, and how he competed inside of the building. And so a great appreciation for that side of it. Obviously, we're moving forward as a program without him. I said it to the guys today. There's no one that's bigger than the Power T, and that includes me. And they hear me say that a lot inside of that team room. This program's been around for a long time, with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players that came before that laid the cornerstone pieces, the legacy, the tradition that is Tennessee football. It's going to be around a long time after I'm done and after they're gone. And that's what's special about being here, is that there is a legacy and a tradition that is so rich, and a logo that's recognized not just across the nation but across the world too. And today you got a chance to see 110 guys that ran out and competed their butts off, that give their all for Tennessee and do it the right way. And really proud of the spring that they've had, but also how they culminated it as well. So excited about where we're at this point. Man, there's a lot of work for this team to continue to grow, to have the ability to chase the things that we want to in the fall. But we're where we need to be as well, and our coaches and staff, guys have been here over the last 4 years, have rebuilt this program, and it's built to win. And I say that as we're moving forward from today too. This program's ready to go win next fall. And as a program, since we've been here, we've won with a lot of different QBs, done it historically in my career with a lot of different QBs. Some of those guys have been older, some of them have been younger, but we'll have a quarterback that's ready to go win and help us compete for a championship. So I'll open it up from there.
We'll start with Austin and David.
Josh, is that the most frustrating part, the fact that he no-showed for practice, and then, a lot of kids go in the portal, but they, normally tell you and do it after the spring game. Would it made it better to, just fulfill the rest of the spring?
Man, if it's going to happen, rip the Band-Aid too. At the end of the day, we got a lot of great work for the two guys that are here, and we got a chance to move forward as a program. So it's unfortunate. just in the landscape of college football that this happens at this point. But, I told our coaches yesterday afternoon when we had a staff meeting, I said, if it's going to happen, and sometimes it happens through injury, game 5, game 6. I've had it in my career where I lost starting quarterback before we started training camp, the day of the start of training camp. And at the end of the day, this is the greatest team game there is. And, that group where we lost them on day 1, they rallied together. Adversity, when it strikes, you got 2 choices. It can bring you together or divide you. That group came together and ultimately went on and won a conference championship that year. And this group inside of that locker room, they're tough, they're competitive, they care about each other, and we got to grow together.
Josh, what were your dealings with Nico and his representatives in the last 72 hours, and when and why did you make the decision to move on?
Yeah, we had Wednesday was a practice day. Thursday our players were off, and Friday was the first time that we were back in the building as a team. And that was just kind of the structure of the week in the lead up to the spring game, giving those guys a day off. I'm not going to get into the details of everything and the timing of that. That's just in fairness to both parties. But at the end of the day, he's moving on. We're moving on too, and we'll be ready to roll when we get to next fall.
Gentry and then Trey.
Yeah, Josh, without getting into those details, when was it apparent to you that you would be moving forward?
Friday morning, when he's a no-show, you come off the practice field and there's no communication.
Trey.
Josh, when you look at the players in the locker room that were at practice on Friday and coming here to the game today, how do you think that they rallied? Obviously, this is a big deal, but at the end of the day, how do you think that they rallied around the quarterbacks that were still here, while also trying to focus on maybe not throwing aggravation at the situation?
Yeah, our team needs to handle it with maturity too, and these guys have an appreciation for Nico and what he's done since he's been here too. Just like I said at the beginning of the press conference, and at the end of the day, everybody in college football is dealing with this as the portal opens up here this week. And at the end of the day, it's my responsibility, our staff's responsibility, find 105 guys that are going to go give their all for Tennessee day in, day out, and certainly on game day too, and we'll do that.
Rob and David.
Coach, are you aware of the almost, it seems like, universal amount of goodwill and support from the fan base for you, and are you surprised by that? And do you think that's kind of indicative of where people are involved?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Vol Nation, rallies around this group of players and this program. I have been here long enough and seen enough things happen that that's why I consider it the greatest fan base in college sports, not just college football. Haven't paid attention to social media at this point, and we'll try to stay off of it here for a little while too.
Josh, you hear this is where we are in college football now. Is there anything you would want to change about this situation, or has that been kind of has the toothpaste been let out, and then was there anything you'd like to go back and change how college football has gotten to this point, or college athletics?
Man, I feel like you guys have dinner plans and we don't have long enough to get through everything and all the changes that I and probably most of the coaches would want in college football. But this is, it's like game day, right? Like, you got to be ready to move on to the next play. And, man, that's my responsibility in leading this program. It's our players' responsibility, too.
Adam.
Josh, you only got 2 scholarship quarterbacks, obviously. If you look in the portal, are you looking for a starter? Are you looking for somebody to compete with Merck? What are you looking for?
Well, we're having open tryouts right after this. Hub's already hit me about his ability to throw the ball, so nah. Anytime your roster has the opportunity to change, that's in December, that's in the spring, right? As we go through the process, you're always evaluating what you have on your roster. where you're, I'm going to say vulnerable, where numbers might not be right, injuries, whatever, and you're trying to get your roster to where it needs to be to give yourself the best chance when you get to kick off in the fall. And, you know, certainly with only 2 scholarship players at the quarterback position, you know, we're going to have to find another guy.
Paige in the back, and then back to David up front.
You mentioned a little bit about the team's response, but what did you like most about the team's response, or maybe what do you love about this new look Tennessee team?
At the end of the day, I like this group. They're really accountable. They show up, they do right. That's in the building, strength and conditioning, rehab, nutrition, you know, football meetings, practice, all of that. But they do it right on the outside too, and class and who they are in the community. So it's a really accountable group. We've recruited to that. It's a group that, you know, like today was the next opportunity for them to go compete, and you can tell that they care about each other, and we'll continue to grow together.
Josh, have you had?
Need some water?
I'm good. Have you had any communication with Nico since you guys decided to move on, and how did you kind of? Did you have?
I have not. I have not.
Trey and then Wes.
Josh, this might be getting in a little bit to the weeds of your policy and the university's policy, but when you can't get in touch with the player, and you have to go the extra length, and maybe their staff members can't get in touch with the player or something like that, is there something you guys do about that situation, or did you know Friday morning that when he didn't show up to practice, this was probably the reason why he's not answering the call?
There's probably a fair reason to expect that that's, you know, the symptom of it, right? At the end of the day, you know, just in leadership position, you have standards of who you got to be inside the building and outside of it. At the same time, like every individual is a little bit different. So in leadership, just have learned to try to keep a cool head and also understand the dynamics of all situations, you know, family, everything. So.
We've seen coaches in different sports basically say, like, I don't want any part of this, I'm moving on. And you've had other coaches say, this is the situation now, so work within the framework of what it is. What makes you someone who wants to keep doing this, and despite having to maybe manage all these different things that aren't football?
You talk about coaching?
Yes.
What happens outside of the game in some ways has changed, right? But the game hasn't changed. You got to be tough, smart, and physical. You got to play extremely hard. You got to have fundamentals and technique. I choose to coach college football because I love dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds most of the time. All right, okay. But I love the pageantry of college football. I love the NFL's different, right? Not in a bad way, it's just different. I love the growth of young people, taking somebody that shows up from different backgrounds and helping them grow in their maturity as a man, and how that parlays itself into helping them grow as a football player too. It's just it's a chance to be in the middle of their journey as a man and as a player versus being on the back end of the journey, being at the destination point. I love so much about this game and this time frame. And when you have a team that's like, the best part of my day is when they show up every single day. When you got a staff that's like-minded, that is selfless, that cares about the people around them, man, I don't consider it work. I get to go compete and try to be our best every single day. It's awesome walking in there.
A few more. Rick and then Reese.
Coach, having said that, how difficult and maybe frustrating is it to deal with the business side of college athletics?
Well, that's the part that's changed for sure. It's a part of this game at this point. In every job that anyone has, man, not 100% of it is exactly what you want. But at the same time, I can understand a player's perspective too, having played the game too, and there's some benefits to it as well.
Coach, you haven't talked much football, so how did you feel?
Yeah, I haven't gotten a football question.
So Burke stepping up, coming out there, and then also McIntyre How you feel they play?
I'm going to cash in on my lottery ticket on that side. I took that number. Your question was about Merck, and I thought they did a really good job today for the most part. Obviously, Merck had the one pick on the double move where the safety's a player in the middle of the field. But for the most part, they handled the operation pretty well. There was a couple of checks that we can clean up, just some of the operation side of it and the ultimate check. But they moved the football, made plays, thought they used their feet. Obviously, they weren't live. They're going to have to learn how to protect themselves out in space. But it was a great day for both of them as young players, being out in front of that crowd, having to be the guy and go operate.
Last two, Riley, then Austin.
Coach, it's had to be a crazy past 24 hours for George and Jake there. What was just your conversation to them kind of being that next man up?
Go have fun and compete today. It's not going to be perfect. Never will be. Same thing that I said to the team. And, there's a way that you got to operate from snap to the whistle, and then you got to learn how to operate from the whistle to the next snap too. And I thought those guys did a good job.
I know you talked about Nico's ability to be a leader was growing. He wasn't the most vocal kid. With him gone, Dylan Sampson's gone, Cooper Mays is gone. Who on the offensive side is the leader? At a player standpoint, who's that voice that everybody kind of gravitates towards?
Yeah, some of those guys have been gone for 4 months now, right? I think leadership is something that we're continuing to grow on that side of the football. Miles Kitselman, really mature, great command, great presence, ability to demand things from the guys around him, is somebody that's really strong. Up front, Lance Hurd is developing some of that. But that's my job with the Leadership Council, our young shadow warriors, to continue to grow those guys throughout the rest of the season. In general, we're probably stronger, more mature on the defensive side of the ball, but we got to continue to grow that on the offensive side of the ball here, and we'll continue to do that as we, the next 4 weeks before we get out and when we get back in the summer.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.